The next interview, it's going to be behavioral, which is a very interesting one because it's mostly about cultural fit. Please stay with me and you'll see how you should prepare for it. As I was mentioning at the beginning of the video, the behavioral interview is mostly about cultural fit. When you're talking about the culture associated to a company, it's kind of that set of implicit rules that you follow to act and react. So you will know how to behave within a company, and it's also included a set of values that will guide you in order to make decisions in a day-to-day basis when you are working for that company, of course. When you fit into the culture, the chances of being successful within that company will increase dramatically. Otherwise, it's like going against the current. It is dreadful to work for a company to which you don't agree with their values and their culture. The structure of this interview, as the other interviews within the full loop for Meta's interviews, it's going to be 45 minutes. Remember, 5 minutes by the end is for you to ask questions to the interviewer, so you effectively have 40 minutes in order to answer all the questions. Here, you will expect it to have around 6 to 7 questions, no more than that, because the interviewer is going to deep dive in some aspects of your answers. So expect that. The type of questions you are going to be presented with are related to your past experience and also hypotheticals, but expect a heavy emphasis on past experiences. The topics associated to the questions in this interview are, for example, are you able to receive criticism, meaning feedback from others? How do you handle that feedback? Also related to challenging interpersonal situations at work. Also, have in mind all those situations in which you've been asked to go out of your comfort zone. And if you did that all by yourself without being asked, the better. The very first thing that you have to do in order to prepare for this interview is look for Meta's values. Those you can find easily on the web, but anyway, link in the description, you will find there all the values like move fast, focus on long-term impact, build awesome things, live in the future, be direct and respect your colleagues, metamates, and me. So look at those, check how do you fit into each of these values or situations associated in your past experience that expressed very well the meaning of these values. One thing that is really important here is that you should moderate your answers. We all understand that we have been exposed to negative situations in the past, and those of some situations have left a mark in us. So please, whenever you go to this interview, leave that behind. Do not bring any emotions into this interview, and please observe any of those situations from an objective point of view. And I'm telling you here, plain and simple, nobody wants to work with someone that is constantly complaining. Nobody wants to work with someone that is digging into the past and is not able to move on. Meaning coworkers are constantly complaining. That's completely awful and goes against meta values. So please leave those emotions behind and outside this interview. So you are wondering, what kind of people is Meta looking for? So the very first thing that I can tell you is that they are looking for bold people. This kind of people is not waiting for someone to tell them what to do. They are fully proactive. They look and identify for problems to be solved, and they go and do it. They identify the proper resources. They identify the value that this change is going to cost. And if it is something that is valuable and impactful, they will go and do it, and they won't wait for anyone to tell them to do it. Meta is also looking for people that is energized about what they do. If they see that you are not passionate about what you do, that probably is going to be taken as a negative point. When we were mentioning about boldness or being bold, It's also being able to push back when necessary, identifying those situations in which what has been asked is not the right thing, or whenever we have identified a better solution for the problem, you should be able to actually push back and say, no, we should do it in this way, and the reasons are A, B, C, and D. So whenever you push back, of course, you have to present your reasons, and you have to show the data in order to back your decision. Another trait they are looking for in TPMs is flexibility and adaptability. The reason is every single team in Meta works in a different way, and they have different preferences. Whenever you join a team, you will have to make a trade-off between what are the team preferences and how they like to work, and what's the optimal way of working. Therefore, making these kind of compromises and these kind of trade-offs requires being adaptable. So you should be able to change the way you work or adapt it depending on which team or with which team you are working with. And last but not least, Meta is looking for leaders, meaning people that are drivers, no passengers. It's not about it's not about participating, it's about leading the effort. And when I say leading, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have people doing stuff for you. It's about if you see a problem, you solve it. If you see something that can be optimized, you go and do it. That's part of the definition of leadership within Meta. Before you go, remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notifications button so you can receive more useful videos from TPMs. And remember, be kind because people will appreciate it. Be smart because people will notice. And have fun because fun is contagious. If this is the first time that you're watching my videos related to the Meta interview process, you definitely want to start here. And this video will tell you about the overarching process related to TPMs when it comes to interviews. And you also want to watch this video, which is the very first one associated to the phone interview or the phone screening, meaning the very first interview that you're going to be at whenever initiating this process.